guys, welcome back to Heart Breathings. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've had a new video up, but I am so excited to come back to you today after I have had my little baby girl, which I will pop a picture of her up here if you haven't seen one yet. Things are going really well, but obviously since I am 10 days postpartum, I am really thinking about time management right now. So I thought it would be the perfect time to come on and talk about how to really take control of your time and your schedule to help you hit your goals. So if this is something that you struggle with, like managing your time, really getting everything done and feeling overwhelmed or stressed because you have too much on your plate, then stay tuned because this video is for you. So do you struggle with time management, feeling like you have a to-do list that is ridiculously long and you feel always behind and overwhelmed? So I think right now in our culture with so much at our fingertips, so many opportunities, we often feel like if we're not going and dotting off or checking off all of the little boxes, like every single social media, having a great website, getting everything done, all at once, that we're failing or that we're not moving forward in a way that we really want to be moving forward. And all that does when we put it on ourselves and on our shoulders to get everything done is really make us feel more stressed out. And then as you begin to work toward what you think is your biggest life goal, like maybe being a writer or finishing your first book or publishing your first book, instead of just really enjoying the process and the journey, it's easy to get caught up in the stress of being overwhelmed that you're not getting it all done. And it's also easy sometimes to convince ourselves in our mind that if we don't get it all done, that we're somehow not going to be a success. Like if I don't have the perfect website, then my books aren't going to take off. Or if I'm not on Facebook, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, if I don't have it all figured out and perfect and all of my branding in just the right place, or if I don't have my total entire series plotted out, or if I don't pre-write 6 books and then launch them really fast, that I'm not going to be a success. And it's easy when we get scared because we're heading toward big dreams here to really convince ourselves that if everything isn't perfect or every tiny little thing isn't done, we're not going to be a success. And sometimes there are even coaches and teachers and people who are out there doing this that will tell you that sort of thing. But I'm here to tell you that those are just lies that you're telling yourself. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just need to keep moving forward. And even baby steps, even the tiniest little baby steps, 100 words a day, or just getting 1 page of your website done this week can make a huge difference in the long term. So what I want to talk about today is 5 steps that I have really been following for a while to help you get rid of that feeling of being overwhelmed and feeling like you're just never getting it all done and that you're stressed all of the time, which really takes away a lot of the joy of writing or whatever goal you're pursuing in the first place. And, step out of that and instead really start moving toward your dreams and moving toward the life that you really want for yourself. So let's go over those 5 steps. So step 1 is know where you want to go. If you just have some vague idea of, I want to be a writer, or I'd like to write a book, or I want to be famous or popular on social media, whatever it is your goal is, I want to start a YouTube channel, but you haven't really thought beyond I want to write a book and thought about what your long-term goals are, then you're really not setting yourself up for success, because what you're saying is, I have this goal, but I don't have a clear picture in my mind of what it looks like or what it feels like or how I'm going to get there. So when you go to make decisions or you go to get motivated for hitting those goals, you don't have this clear vision. So without that vision, it can be easy to feel overwhelmed. It can also be really easy to get off course. So let's say you want to go on a trip and it's somewhere out west. You get in your car, but you don't know exactly what city you're going to. You don't know exactly what it's going to look like when you get there or what you're going to do. You don't have a hotel reservation. You don't have enough gas in your car to go very far. You just have this idea of, I want to go west. Well, that can make for a really great adventure, but if you don't have a location to put into your GPS or a place on the map that you're saying, this is where I'm headed, then it can be very difficult to actually navigate from your house to this random place out west, right? So as you're traveling, you're going to be taking side roads, you're going to be confused about where to turn, you're going to be watching, a compass maybe, but you're not going to know exactly which roads to take to get to exactly where you're trying to go. But if you know your location as best you can, you say, okay, I'm going to get in the car here and I'm going to Los Angeles, California, then you can at least put Los Angeles, California into your GPS. You may not know exactly what road you're going to or what hotel you're going to, but you do have a destination and a clear vision. You're going to be able to put that city into your GPS, and that is going to tell you which turns to take. And every decision that you make along the road and along that drive is going to be guided by knowing your final destination. So the same thing is true when you're talking about your goals. If you have no idea what your end game looks like, you don't really know what you want out of this dream, you don't know what kind of writer you want to be, you don't know what it looks like or feels like when you find success, you haven't defined that for yourself, then you're often going to be just looking around at what everybody else is doing and feeling like you have to do it all yourself. Whereas the truth is, you may not need to do a lot of those things, because once you know exactly what you want, you know where you're going, what kind of career you want, what kind of writer you want to be, what kind of book you want to write. Once you've got that long-term vision for yourself, then it becomes that much easier to make decisions that will navigate you toward that end goal. So knowing where you want to go is the best first step. And like I said, it may change along the way. You may get halfway to LA and say, you know what, I kind of want to go to Portland, Oregon instead. That may happen with your writing too. You may start out writing young adult and say, gosh, this is really turning into more of an adult series and it's more of a mystery than a fantasy. And that's fine too, because it's part of the journey. But just knowing where you want to go and what your goals and dreams look like in terms of your destination can really help you to make decisions that are going to lead you on the right direction and help you focus in on what's most important. Because when you don't know where you're going, you're going to focus in on just anything that grabs your attention rather than the things that really move you forward. So that's step number 1, is know where you're going. Step number 2 is to create a short-term plan that moves you just a baby step toward that dream. So you've got the long-term vision in step 1. Step 2 is to come up with a short-term plan. What can I focus on right now or for the next 90 days, which is how I plan. I love to do quarters because it gives you 4 fresh starts a year. And it also gives you a chance to really focus in for 90 days, hold on to that motivation instead of saying, I'm going to work on these goals all year and then kind of lose motivation halfway through. This gives you a chance to say, for this 3 months or these 90 days, I'm going to focus only on this goal and getting these simple, easy to do things done. Then you can review and move on to the next quarter. So for me, my short term in step 2 is 90 days, but you could plan it month to month if you'd like, or whatever suits you. But I love 90 days. So step 2 is to create that 90-day plan or a short-term plan that moves you towards those goals. Now, we're all busy. We can't do it all. So you can't say, this 90 days, I'm going to set up my website, finish 3 books, start all my social media, and I'm going to start a Facebook group and, just add these huge tasks and projects to your list. When it comes to creating your 90-day plan, you really have to become realistic about what you can achieve in those 90 days and super hyper focused on what is most important to you right now. So let's say you really want to be a writer. Now because of step 1, your goal is to write urban fantasy fiction, and you really have this series that you want to write very badly, and you want to, it's going to be 6 books long or whatever. And so you have your vision of the kind of writer you want to be, but you're just getting started. So over the next 90 days, when you're trying to come up with a realistic and focused plan, instead of worrying about your social media and your website and your fans and everything else, you need to focus on the very first thing, which is getting the first book written. So over the next 90 days, your goals may be something along the lines of writing every single day so that you can finish that first book, or at least get through the plotting of that first book, or whatever pace you work at. So over the course of the next 90 days, instead of trying to tackle all of those projects and feeling like you have to get it all set up before you can even get started, focus on the first thing that needs to get done, which is writing your first book or coming up with the idea for your first series. So then you would just focus this 90 days only on writing that book or conceptualizing that series or whatever it is that first step is for you. If though you're, say, a year into writing this fantasy series and you really want to get more fans for your fantasy series, then you could focus this next 90 days on maybe finishing up your third or fourth book in the series and then working on your marketing. So you could focus completely on your marketing for this next 90 days, or just on getting your website together or starting a YouTube channel. But instead of trying to split your focus among, 1,000 different things, really focus in on what's going to be the most important thing for where you are at this point in your career. So step number 1 was to get that long-term vision and know where you're headed. Step number 2 is to create a realistic and focused plan for the short term. Step number 3 is getting a little bit done every single day during those 90 days that moves you toward completing that goal for the short term. Because if you've done a good job of setting a goal or a plan that moves you towards your long-term vision, then all you have to do every single day when you get up is take one tiny step. So let's say you had this long-term vision of becoming a New York Times best-selling fantasy author or urban fantasy author. Then this 90 days, you've created a plan where you're going to conceptualize your first urban fantasy series and you are going to plot and write the rough draft of your first book. Then the daily part in step 3 is that you get up every day and you create a writing schedule that allows you to write, say, 1,000 words a day every single day. Or for you, it may be 100 words a day, because that's what's more realistic for you. You've got 15 minutes before you head to work every morning and you're going to write those 100 words every day. And that's going to add up over the course of 90 days. That's 9,000 words. You're almost through your first act. So step 3 is just basically executing that plan, but just remembering that instead of feeling like you have to take on the whole world and get 1,000 things done, you just need to focus in on what helps move you towards your goals. It can be tiny little baby steps, but I promise you it will add up over the course of 90 days to being a completed project. And then over the course of several 90-day segments, you're going to start to really see major movement towards your main goals in life. Step number 4 is to review how your quarter went. So once you've finished executing that plan these last 90 days, then you need to take the time to really review how you did. So let's say you set up a plan for 90 days that you were going to write 1,000 words a day and finish your first urban fantasy novel, which you were expecting to be around 80,000 words. So you got up every day, you did your writing, but now we're going to review. Say it's the end of the 90 days and instead of 80,000 words, you got to 40,000 words. So you made it only halfway to your original goal. Instead of viewing that as a failure, that, oh my gosh, I only got 40,000 words, you can take this time to review at the end of your quarter and say, okay, why didn't I hit that target of 80,000 words? What went wrong? What did I do right? Where did I miscalculate? And then when you look at it that way, instead of throwing your hands up and saying, I'm a big fat failure, you can really look at it objectively and say, why didn't I hit this 80,000 word goal? Then you can learn from whatever your answer is. So maybe your answer is that I thought during this hour before work, I could write 1,000 words a day. But I found out that on the weekends, I don't get any writing done because I've got too many errands or I'm always sleeping in. So there went all of your weekend days. So instead of having 90 days to work, you only had, 70 days or whatever that equals out to. There went a good percentage of your writing time. Then on average, because you kept up with your data, maybe you realized that instead of writing 1,000 words every morning, you only got an average of, say, 600 words every morning. So that's where you only ended up with 40,000 words instead of 80. What you can do now which is the final step. Once you've done your review and kind of gotten your data and understood what went right and what went wrong over the course of your short-term plan, now step number 5 is to repeat the whole process and reset up your plan. So step number 5, you would go back to the beginning and you would make sure, hey, am I still on track? Is this still the long-term vision that I'm working toward? Is this still what I want to write? Am I still on track for that? If the answers are yes, then you just move forward. If the answer is no, then you readjust your dreams and your goals. But then you go back through step number 2 and create a short-term 90-day plan, once again, that moves you towards that long-term vision. So let's say your vision stayed the same. You still want to stay and become a New York Times bestselling urban fantasy author. You're just realizing that to be realistic about your time, you're going to have to bite off a little bit less word count, or you're going to have to give yourself more time. So when you make that new plan for the next quarter, you either need to say, okay, I'm going to write an hour before work and I'm going to write an hour after work. You're giving yourself 2 hours a day. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to set aside writing time on the weekends because that's where I fell short last 90 days. Or you can say, instead of setting an 80,000 word goal, I'm only going to set a 40,000 word goal because I know that for me, that's realistic. So now in the second quarter, you can finish that rough draft. So you reset your goals, reset your plan. And then step number 3, you execute that plan. Every single day, you get up, you do your writing, you work towards your goals. And then once the 90 days is over, step number 4, you review how it all went. Step number 5, you go back to the beginning. So this is my proven framework. This is what has completely changed my life in terms of taking control of my time. What I used to always do was expect myself to get everything done. Instead of focusing in on the things that really would move me forward, I just was trying to take on everything that I thought I needed to do and do it all at once. So I ended up with a bunch of half done or partially done projects, but nothing that was actually moving me forward. It took me a long time to write books because my attention was so scattered. I wrote in multiple different genres because I wasn't really focused on the kind of writer that I wanted to be. And I just wasn't super focused, so I was always stressed, and I spent so much time being stressed and overwhelmed that I wasn't getting my work done. So all of those things started to work against me. When I switched to this type of system where I really spent a lot of time thinking about what's my long-term vision and then coming up with a short-term 90-day plan that really helped me focus in and be realistic about how much time I had and where I was spending my time, I was able to focus in so much that it's like things were getting done left and right. And then all of a sudden, I've got books coming out again. My income is up. I've got more marketing getting done. I've got really laser focused on the things that made a difference in my career. And it not only made a difference in my income and my sales and that sort of thing, it made a huge difference in the way I felt every day. Instead of feeling so overwhelmed and exhausted and behind and like I was just never going to hit my goals, I started to feel confident. I started to feel happy. I started to spend more time with my family because I knew where my priorities were. And I just started to really thrive in a way that I never had before. I started to understand that slow progress that's realistic adds up to greater results than constantly feeling frazzled or hanging on the edge of burnout at all times, because I just don't work efficiently when I'm overwhelmed or stressed or half burnout or like hanging off the edge of a cliff at all times and really focusing on the wrong things. That has really made all the difference in my life. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to share this with you, because I know how difficult it is to want a goal with all of your heart and to always feel like you're falling behind or that you're failing or that you're not making great progress toward that. So I hope that some of these tips have resonated with you. If they have, and you would like to go a little bit deeper, or you would like more help in really solidifying that vision of your life and coming up with a realistic but strong 90-day plan, my HP90 Bootcamp course is now open for enrollment for the Q4 season. So every quarter I run this course, and it has been life-changing for so many people, which I can't even tell you how much that means to me. The HP90 course will kick off 1 week from today, September 19th, and will run all through next weekend. It's a 3-day course, but once you're signed up, even if you can't participate next weekend, you will have access to the materials and to all the videos for a lifetime of the course. So you can always go through it later as well, even if you can't be there next weekend. But you will also get a free HP90 quarterly planner for Q4. And I will basically walk you through the steps of how to envision your future. What do you really want? We're going to do some really strong journaling and a lot of talking about how to solidify that vision for your life. And then we are going to dive into how to create a 90-day plan with really strong goals, really focused objectives, and then break that plan down into projects and tasks that are manageable and realistic with the time that you have. At this point, I have had close to 400 people take this course, and the feedback from it has just been astounding. We have a really great community because it's not just this 1 weekend of course. It's a Facebook group community that you'll have access to for the rest, for the lifetime of the course. And so we have weekly accountability posts. We have a lot of support in there for continuing to work towards your dreams and your goals. And I'm seeing people finish books for the first time, get major deals, get their marketing under control, start to feel happier, start to feel less stressed. And I would love to have the same for you. I would love the opportunity to help walk you through this system and to hopefully help you achieve your goals and do it in a way that makes you happy instead of constantly feeling stressed. And the reason that I know this works is because I was in that place of overwhelm and stress and burnout. And this is the system that helped me get out of it, and I would love to share it with you. So if you're interested in joining the HP90 Bootcamp, registration is now open for the next week. You can find a link with more information about what all we cover over the course of the weekend. There are 2 live video calls where you'll get to kind of hang out with me online for a little while on Thursday night and then again on Sunday. And then there's also the course materials will be going all weekend. And like I said, even if you don't have time to get through it all in the weekend, there will be plenty of time for you to catch up whenever you want to. I have some people that signed up and then it took them, a couple of weeks for sure to get through it. And that's totally fine too, because you'll have lifetime access to the course. So if you're interested, check out that link down below and come join us in the HP90 Bootcamp. If now is not the greatest time for you to join the bootcamp, then I at least hope that you got some tips out of this video. Guys, I am so excited to be back. Hopefully there will be more videos coming up now. Thank you for your patience as I finished up this pregnancy and welcomed my baby girl. She was born at 41 weeks exactly on Labor Day. And she is just the most precious, most beautiful little girl. Her name is Nynaeve Elizabeth, which if you've ever read the Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan, you would recognize the character Nynaeve. So she's named after mine and my husband's favorite character in a fantasy series. And we're calling her Evie. And she's just the sweetest little thing. Of course, we're not getting a ton of sleep right now, but we are just over the moon happy. So thank you for all of your sweet comments and for your patience in me getting videos up. But you will see a few more videos from me, including the September Notebook Challenge, which will come up this weekend, as well as a video coming up on how to set realistic writing goals, how to choose which story or which series is best for you, and lots more coming up. So I hope to see you in the next video. If you're new to this channel, I would love for you to subscribe, hit the notification bell so that you get notified whenever new videos come up from me. Don't forget to hit that like button because it really does help this channel and it helps YouTube know that people are enjoying this content. So thank you all so much. Sign up for HP90 if you get a chance. All the links are down below, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.